Stopping by, everybody. Stopping by for Indie Dave comic stream. I, of course, am your host, Indie Dave. We've got a few things to talk about. Hopefully, Mike Miller shows up. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Mike Miller. Mike Murphy. It'd be great if Mike Miller showed up too. But I'm your host, Indie Dave, the writer of Oddity, the most anticipated frog comic on Indiegogo. We got a few things we're going to talk about. Like I said, hopefully Mike Murphy shows up. He said he'd be here maybe 15, 20 minutes. So we're going to talk about his book, The Gods Fear Me, and we're going to see how that's going. We've got an Oddity update. I've got a pack of cards here. It's a small, tiny little box of cards, and we'll probably do a little bit of ASMR on that. We'll see how everything goes. But first, we're going to talk about the latest update to the Oddity campaign. So let me go ahead and share that. And let's see, do my share screen. All right. So here we are. I'm making sure everybody sees it. All right. How's everybody going? How's everybody doing tonight? Hope they're doing good. Let's see. So here's Oddity. Right now we were at, let me refresh, see if we've gotten any new backers. All right, so we're sitting pretty at 6,385, 101 backers, 212% funded, or $3,000 flexible goal. That's freaking, guys, you guys are helping us out a lot. This is looking really good. Mrs. Dave Comics is surprised. She thought we'd be maybe eking in at 10 at the end of the 30 days. Like she was confident we'd get funded, but she thought like at 30 days we'd be eking in at just over 10 grand. I still think it's possible that we could make it to 10 grand on Monday. We'll see. We will see. But right now, I want to discuss a little change that we made. This change does not affect anybody that has already backed the book. We've just done a couple of little things. We were just looking over our numbers, looking over, the kind of stuff that people are, people have been backing. Let's see. So the digital copy at $10, that's still good. Double download at $15, that's still good. The book with the Sweens cover at $25, that's still good. We fixed that little snafu. Let's see. The EVS cover at $35, that's still good. Both covers, $50, that's still good. Book and the sketch. You will notice that the book and the sketch is a 0 out of 20 claimed. We were supposed to limit that one to 25 when we initially put it up, and we forgot. So the 5 of you that claimed it already, you're still going to get your book and your sketch. There's going to be no issue with that. We just put up a new one, so we limited it to 20. So now we'll get 20 people still be able to claim that book and a sketch, and it doesn't affect anybody else. All right, being the book is still the same, 8 out of 10. Here's the big change this week. We noticed that the all-in tier did not. Well, it's not that we didn't notice. We forgot to put it in, or we didn't account for it. The all-in tier did not include the figurine. So in that sense, it's not really an all-in tier, right? So what we did, since we're only going to have 20 figurines, is people already bought 6 of them. So we limited this last blowout to 4, and we're going to put 10 onto the all-in tier. So now the all-in tier, if you've backed it already, which nobody has, so that's not going to affect anybody. But from going forward, the all-in tier now includes the figurine. And what we're going to do is the last 4 we're going to blow out off of this tier for $100. So you're going to be $50 less. It doesn't come with the book, but it will come with all of the stretch goals from here on out. So all the stretch goals that we're doing, and eventually we'll be doing some cards maybe, depending on how good we do, and other stuff. That's all going to be included with the blowout tier. So that's what's going on with that one. And then you can still, if you want, you can still buy one of the book covers, one of the books. All right. So that is the big oddity update. Also, that that figurine tier is just for the weekend. Whether we sell them all or not, Monday morning, boom, that goes away. So the only way after Monday morning to get the figurine is to get the all-in tier. Any of them that are extra, we'll probably do as like a giveaway or something, something like that. We'll figure something out. But basically, yeah, that's what's going on with that one. The all-in tier will be after Monday the only way to get the figurine. All right, so that is the big oddity update. Let me see if Mike's not here yet. All right, yeah, Rare Logic mostly alive. All right, so that is the big oddity update. What we're going to do probably when Mike gets here is we're going to try to talk about, we're going to talk about his book, The Gods Fear Me. So let me get a banner up for that. Yeah, the gods fear me on Indiegogo. All right, so when he'll all right. Yeah, my mic dipped out again. All right, so Antonio Bryce was just the coolest guy. He had us on. We had so much fun on his channel, and we got to talking about time travel. I was thinking, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool to do a stream where we talk about our favorite time travel movies? So when Mike comes on, after we talk about his book, we're gonna talk about time travel, our theories of time travel, and our favorite time travel movies. There's actually a lot to choose from. Although I have not seen any of the Hot Tub Time Machine movies. So I'm not sure exactly what their theory is. But let's see. All right, so one other thing. It would seem, since we're gonna have to wait here for a few minutes, I'm gonna do something a little bit different here. All right, if you give me just a moment. Oh, my camera is not connected. I don't know what the deal is with that. Let's go to settings and see. I was going to camera resolution. Camera. I gotta choose one. Oh, it's not letting me choose a camera. Well, that's no fun. Because the camera's long. High definition. Let's try that. High definition. Anything? All right. So I boomered that. I should have set that up in the beginning. That happened the other day when I was on Bryce talking to Antonio. Afterwards, well, guess what? We're not doing that stream. I was going to go over some of the cards that I just got. And we got a pack of these Harley Davidson cards, and it's not a big, huge box like I usually get. So I was just going to kind of go through them real bit for you motorcycle fans. And I guess that's not going to happen. At least not today. We'll figure something out. All right. So what do we got? Who do we got in the chat today? Just let's see. We got Rare, and we got Sean Davis still here. I know there's like a million other live streams tonight. I think. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. I think that Cecil was streaming something, and I know that Wenger was streaming, and they got the auction stream, and so yeah, maybe a busy night Got one person watching. Thank you, Rare, for showing up and listening to me rant all by myself. I can't even do the do my little thing. All right, so what do you guys want to talk about? We got yeah. Sweens is busy, so he couldn't show up tonight. He's going to spend some time with his family. He's been going nonstop on promoting the book and stuff. My family are all in here with me, at least one of them. My wife's in here with me.
Yeah, from the whole family now, huh?
Well, I mean, everybody else is in bed.
Yes, as they should be, because they're kids.
Yep. It's Friday, though. Man, when I was a kid, I would stay up all night on Fridays, but we can't trust our kids to do that.
Well, 15-year-old's up, and he'll probably be up all night.
Yeah. Both of you have. Yeah, so so Oddity's doing well right now. We're extremely excited. Let's see. Some of the plans. All right, let me talk about some of the plans that I had. I still got to clear everything with Sweens. But I've been looking at further down the line doing trading cards because I'm a huge fan of trading cards. It's all got to be cleared by Sweens because he may not agree. But I mean, I like the trading cards. I found a printer, and I'm so excited about this. I think he's the only one in the country. I found a printer that prints trading cards and packs them in the old school wax paper wrapping that the trading cards used to come in, baseball cards. And I was like, it took me all night last night. I was looking up different printers, and everybody's got cards that look good, and that's awesome. And I was like, I wonder if anybody does the wax packs. And nobody does gum anymore because I guess
it goes bad.
Well, I guess the Topps company used to do the gum, but they don't anymore. And you can't get it anymore. And since they don't make the gum, they stopped doing it. If you want to make your own gum, I have a theoretical recipe. If you've got a dehydrator, what you need to do is get that bubble tape, cut the gum into strips, big enough strips, then you put it in your dehydrator, and you dehydrate it and see if you can get it good and stiff. Get your crunchy gum. I don't know if that will work.
I forgot that it was crunchy.
Yeah, you bite into it and it like snaps in half and breaks into little pieces.
I forgot that gum used to be like that, like chalk.
Yeah. So I'm not, if we do cards, I'm not going to be able to do that because I think there's some kind of health department risk with doing that from now on. But I might try to experiment that just to have my own gum, my own baseball card gum. All right, we're still waiting on Mike Murphy, but let's talk a little bit about his project.
Talk about the huge development he announced.
Yeah. So Mike Murphy, let me find his book, The Gods Fear Me. Let's see. Gods Fear Me. All right. So a big development on The Gods Fear Me is that they're at their 10th. When they reach 10,000, they're going to the book will be in color. What were they at? Do you remember what number they were at before?
They're at 180.
Were they?
Something.
They're at 1924 now.
Oh, awesome. Yay!
Yeah. All right, so let's put that up. That's not it.
I love Mike.
Mike's a good guy. We're good friends with Mike. Mike Murphy.
I want to see his book do well.
Yeah.
I want to see everyone's books do well, but...
Yeah. All right, let's see. Now let's reshare the screen. All right. So Mike Murphy's The Gods Fear Me, book 1. Right now they're sitting at 1924 at 56 backers.
Awesome.
32% funded. Their goal is $6,000. So we need to get these guys. We need to push these guys hard. Mike Murphy's good people. We like Mike Murphy, and his wife is awesome. She's an awesome artist too. She does like kind of chibi stuff. but it's really, I mean, it's really good. It's a real I mean, Chibi isn't unique, but she has like a really unique style to her work, which is really cool. All right, so let's see. There we go. I can't play the videos on these for some reason. Too much bandwidth.
Yeah, our Comcast has been crap lately. I have to call them.
All right, so there's some really cool monsters. All right, The Gods Fear Me, Book 1. The Gods Fear Me, Book 1 is a 32-page post-invasion sci-fi horror epic set hundreds of years after the fall of the human race. This gargantuan tale is brought to you by Mike Murphy and Christian Rossi on art. All copies will be signed by Mike Murphy. Some cool stuff. All right. I mean, it looks like a monster invasion type thing. 5th gen Merrill Corp asteroid model. Oh, Android model number 072918, nearing finalization. My first thought upon boot up is loyalty. My first emotion is pride. Then comes the history lesson. Shokruda, the madness engine, mass insanity, death, chaos. Designated name, Kedzi. Mass extraterrestrial arrival, the war of 5 demons, humanity decimated. Welcome to the world, Kedzi. And we got some naughty pictures. Madness-inducing alien gods roam the wastelands of Earth. Kill them all. Understood. Shock washes over me, followed by anger. I've been alive for 48 minutes. That leaves 12 to make my first kill within the hour. 451 kills, and 3 years later, I heard you were big. I've seen bigger. That's a really cool, like, alien monster thing going on. Yeah, same to you, says it, and goes, dumb. Yeah, same to you, arrogant, cocky. Been doing this too long. This is the price. Loses her arm. The Ancient Ones brought the human race to near extinction. Now, the android Kedzi fights to reclaim our world and protect a young boy who might be key to our salvation. The Gods Fear Me, the first of 3 planned installments, is 32 pages of sci-fi action and horror with Lovecraftian overtones, featuring stunning art by Christian Rossi, Alterna's Trespasser, and Voidwalker. We need your help to make this book a reality, and we hope you'll come with us for the journey. In addition to the great perks you see listed, we've got amazing stretch goals in mind once we hit funding. Check them out. All right, we got a swag bag, $8,000 goal bonus. Postcards and swag bag now feature art by Carlo Rowe from Deathsworn. Trading card and swag bag now features art by Ethan Van Sciver. Black and white base, full color unlocked with 10K stretch goal. Chibi Comics thanks both of these upstanding gents for their contributions. So we got a Carlo Rowe. Let's see. Carlo Rowe postcard, looks like. And trading card by Ethan Van Sciver. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go over some of the tiers here. Let's see if he's in the waiting room. I hate to be doing this without him. Holy crap, he's in the waiting room. Sorry, Mike. Hope you weren't waiting too long.
No, man, I just got here a minute or two ago. I caught the tail end of your dramatic reading.
All right. So tell us what's going on with the book.
It's been going good so far. We're at 32% funded, and we're sitting at, I believe it's 1924. So another $75 roughly, and we're third funded.
Cool. All right, and let's see. There's some colors right there. You got I saw some flats you posted today too.
Yeah, I started the flats on page 1 right before we launched, and got busy with some freelance work, so I wasn't able to come back to them until last night.
All right, that's cool. All right, so let's see. Let's go over these tiers here. We got go ahead. We got $10 digital copy. Let's see. It's pretty self-explanatory. Single physical copy, 15. Physical and the prequel novella. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the prequel novella is going to be in the spirit of like, Penny Dreadful novels or pulp novels or like the stuff that Lovecraft was constantly pumping out. It's going to be between 20 and 24 pages, and there are going to be spot illustrations throughout it. And it's going to be set right when the Madness Engine first awakens, and it'll take us through the fall of man and the creation of the android assembly line, and then it'll pretty much take you up right to page 1 of the main book.
All right, cool. All right, let's see. International exclusive. What's that all about?
Yeah, it's the whole thing that your boy Zach brings up all the time. Of I had a few international people write me and say, "Hey, could you do the thing where you offer like 2 sets and knock off some of the cost of shipping internationally?"
Cool. So somebody orders like 4 books, and they're gonna. How many books come with it?
It's 2 sets of the book and the prequel.
Okay. So yes, two friends get together and they're like, yeah, now we don't have to pay, double shipping.
Yeah, instead of 40, I think we took it down to 30 total.
Okay, cool. All right. Support the troops.
Yeah, like it did really good for us with Samurai, and we didn't see any reason not to carry it over. And we just had our first customer last night for that one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And shop owners and collectors, they get how many copies?
10 copies. There's the option to add on a copy of the prequel if you want, but it's just if not, it's just the book itself.
Okay. All right. Get drawn in. $250.
Mm-hmm.
So get them drawn in as a character. Get your original art, $350. Let's see, page 2. Oh, okay, these are all individual pages.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, those are going to be shipped out directly from Kristen in Argentina.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Page 3. Now let's go over some of these stretch goals. Let's see. Full color interiors at 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Main cover from Donald DeLay.
Yeah, I'm really hoping we get to that one.
Yeah. I think he really gave you a little shot in the arm with the last one.
Yeah, totally.
Oh no, it was I'm sorry, it was Kelsey that did the last one. But
yeah,
Donald's no slouch either.
No, he's not, and he seems really into the God's Army, so I'm hoping we can make it work.
Yeah. Let's see. 15,000. You get a square binding.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 18,000. You get a superhero horror story, free second book, featuring art by eBay Canales.
Yep. Yeah. The 18,000 level is the one that I'm really hoping we can hit. It's a cool story that we've come up with this public domain Golden Age character, and both Canales and I are really into the idea of telling it.
That's cool. Yeah, eBay's a good guy. He's a friend of the show. Let's see.
He's great.
The Gods Fear Me gets higher paper quality.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Simon Simpothier provides main cover for 13.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 13. Now you're going into the other comic. 13 gets full color interiors, higher paper quality. So you're looking at putting out a whole complete second book.
Yeah, like we kind of designed this campaign to almost be like an a la carte setup, and in as much as like, hey, whatever you want these books to be, as long as we can hit these stretch goals, like we'll totally make it what you want it to be.
That's cool. Let's see. So that's cover poster unlocked. Gods Fear Me cover poster unlocked. 13 square binding. All right. Let's see. Here's some of the color flats. It looks pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah,
right.
if I have the time over the next week or so, I'll try to do pages 2 and 3 just to have the full setup there.
Okay. Yeah, that's now have you just been because I don't remember. Did you have the color flats on here the other day? Since the beginning?
No, I just put this up today
Okay.
or last night actually, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Definitely start adding the color pages in.
hmm
Let's see. All right. So everything's going well. How's Selena?
She's doing good. She's sitting here working on a freelance project actually.
Outstanding.
Yeah, we got Clark down to sleep for a while, so this is our break time is work time.
And Clark's doing well too.
Yeah, well, he's I mean, from like 8 months to 2 years, it's all teething spontaneously. So pretty much anytime anyone asks him about him, I'm just like, well, he's teething.
Yeah.
So so yeah, like he's doing as good as he can be.
All right. So that's doing well. All right. So me and Sweens we were on Antonio Bryce's channel the other day.
Nice.
We started getting into Star Wars and time travel
hmm
and how time travel ruins stories.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, we were really talking about Endgame and how the it seemed kind of the way they did it. It was inconsistent and that kind of stuff. I mean, some people liked it, some people didn't. And
yeah, I remember when Endgame came out, he wanted me to come on the show because I was one of the only other people that kind of hated it and he wanted to talk with me about it, but we just couldn't make our schedules work out. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I don't think time travel ruined Endgame. I think all the people behind the scenes not taking the story seriously ruined Endgame.
yeah, so we got to talking about time travel, and I was like, man, I love time travel movies because I like picking them apart. And what is your are your favorite?
You're entertaining me tonight.
She's laughing at me because
Yeah, that's okay.
my tongue all tied. Are you a fan of time travel movies at all, or?
Yeah, you done messed up, man. Like I love time travel. I came so prepared for this conversation.
All right, so what's your favorite time travel movie?
Okay, I mean it's a tie, and it's the two most obvious ones, Back to the Future and Bill and Ted.
Yep.
But like that's everyone does the whole thing of like who's better, the Stones or the Beatles, and like my answer always is the Beatles are kind of in a class all of their own that kind of transcend music because they're a cultural thing. So if we look at it that way, the Stones are the best. And it's kind of the same way with Back to the Future and Bill and Ted. Like if they are these like cultural landmarks in movies and we take them out of the equation, like there's a whole bunch of other, like I wouldn't say lesser known, but like less popular time travel movies that I'm a big fan of. Like the dark horse that I thought of that most people don't even consider, but it totally is a time travel movie, is First Contact.
That's the Star Wars Next Generation movie, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they go back to First Contact. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they help what's his name? Cockrum get
Yeah.
off. Yeah. So yeah, like that's one of my favorite time travel stories. I'm a big fan of Interstellar, which is kind of like a fourth dimensional chess time travel movie.
That's the one where the aliens come down with the like squid kind of things, and they make the circles.
No. Interstellar is the Nolan film.
That's the one where they have the big ring. Is that one right? God damn it! I'm terrible at this.
Okay, Interstellar is with Matthew McConaughey, and the world is kind of coming to an end, and so Michael Caine sends him off in space to find a habitable planet. But in the process, he and his team kind of discover these fourth dimensional beings, and it's if you haven't seen this movie, I'm not going to ruin it, but it's kind of sort of a time travel movie.
I think I remember seeing parts of it. I remember watching something on. Is that the one like he's in like this weird kind of dimension? He can see his daughter, and he has to
Yeah.
try to communicate with her.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got that straight. I don't think I saw the whole movie. I did see bits and pieces of it. There's one that came out a few years ago,
Mhm.
and hearing the description, it sounded to me. Do you have a theory of if time travel exists in your universe? Do you have a theory for how it would work?
I okay. I kind of dig everyone's individual approaches to time travel except
Mhm.
Endgame. Uh, like, well, okay. Like, let me get this out of the way. My problem with Endgame is they, in one breath, crap all over great time travel movies like Terminator and Back to the Future, and they're like, "That's not how that crap works." And then their time travel story is completely inconsistent and makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because their whole thing is we have to put once we're done, we have to put the Infinity Stones right back where we found them, or else we create all these branches in reality. And yet everything else that they do should, by that logic,
Be
create
erased.
hundreds of millions of branches.
Yeah.
Like from Cap in the elevator tricking them with the Hail Hydra thing, like now heading into Winter Soldier, all those dudes in the elevator should be like, "Hey, he's one of us. Why do we have these orders?"
Yeah.
And then like my biggest thing is like, okay, if you just killed Thanos from like 4 years ago, then I guess the rest of the movies don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you guys are the ones saying, well, we have to put the Infinity Stones back, otherwise things start to unravel. And it's like, but again, by that logic, then everything should start unraveling once you change stuff.
How come you can bring Gamora back, but you can't bring back Black Widow?
Right. Yeah. So like I think I caught the tail end of you talking with Antonio about that stuff, and I don't know if it was him or one of you guys, but one of you essentially said like, I just have to not pay attention to the time travel stuff to enjoy that movie.
I think he was talking. I think it had to have been him, because there's
Yeah.
no way. To me, if you're going to do a time travel thing, it has to be the whole movie has to be time travel.
Right.
That has to be the whole theory of the movie. Because usually, if they do it as a little side plot, they don't explore it enough, and it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Because you're only using it as a little plot device as opposed to being the whole plot.
Yeah, exactly. Like my favorite time travel stories, time travel and the effects of actually doing it affect the entire plot from start to finish. And when you get to the end of the movie or the book or whatever, you can look back and see how, oh, this happened because of this, which led to that.
Mm-hmm.
And the second people start disobeying that stuff because they either don't want to follow their own logic or can't think their way through the problems they're setting up for themselves,
Yeah.
that's when time travel stories lose me.
Yeah. I like. Let's see. I was looking. There was one that came out a couple of years ago, and to me, from the description, I never got a chance to see it. From the description, it seemed like almost the most logical for what it would be. Basically, this guy, they accidentally invent time travel while trying to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this box. And what happens is you get in the box, and the box basically goes in reverse. So if you're in
Primer?
What? Primer. Yeah, that's the one. I didn't see it, but I saw the description of it. I'm like, wow, that sounds really good.
Yeah, it is. It's that's on my list actually. Like it's a super low budget film. Like it's in the range of like a Clerks.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's so, it can be a little dry because it's one part they don't have a budget, and it's one part like they are sciencing the shit out of time travel.
Yeah.
But like if you can get past that stuff, like it's a really well thought out time travel movie.
Yeah, that one seemed, from what I saw, seemed like they tried to keep it as tight as they could.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, that's from the description. It was on Netflix. So I went to watch it when I first heard about it, and they had just taken it off. So maybe it's on Prime. I'll have to look that up. Maybe I'll watch that on Prime tonight. I have this thing, like I love Back to the Future, but me and my dad used to pick that movie apart all the time.
Sure.
And that's what I liked. That's what I kind of like about the time travel movies is you can pick them apart, and you're like, you always find something that's so ridiculous that it's funny.
Right.
Like in Back to the Future, I have this theory that the movie should have ended as soon as he went back in time. Because when he goes back in time, the car arrives at, at a certain time in a certain place. And then, he changes everything, goes back to the future. And when he does, he sees the other Marty go back in time in exactly the same place at exactly the same time. Well, to me, both of those cars should have appeared at the same place at the same time in 1955 and just exploded, because you can't have the two things occupying the same space at the same time.
That's a good point. That's time cop logic there.
And I was like, there should have been a quantum explosion, and that should have been the end of both movies.
Sure.
And what was it? There was somebody, I heard one of my favorite fan theories online I heard was somebody said that the first Marty that we see is actually Marty number 2. And that the other Marty that Marty sees is Marty number 3.
Interesting.
Well, his theory goes because they had the other actor, I can't remember who was going to play Marty.
Eric
Stoltz.
Yeah, there you go.
Eric Stoltz was supposed to be Marty, and it didn't work out. But his fan theory was that he was the original Marty, and he showed up, and at that point, the doc had no idea how anything worked, so couldn't get him back into the future.
Interesting.
But he knew that for some reason he knew that there was another Marty going to show up or something. So basically, this first Marty, he was like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I realized that in the future I screwed you over because I can't get you back." And they set him up, and they send him to California and he becomes a big time musician. And then when the second Marty comes back, he basically taught him a little bit more and sent him back with more information. So he told him more about how the time travel works, and so he had more information to work on to get him back. And then when he went back, there was the third Marty, and I don't know what happened to the third Marty.
And now we're just heading into Rick and Morty territory.
Exactly.
What else? Okay. So here are some like lower budget, less well-known ones. Triangle, I really enjoyed. It's kind of a schlocky thriller / horror movie wrapped in a time travel story. It's about a group that goes out boating, and there's a storm on the horizon, and this boat comes out of the storm, and the storm capsizes their boat, so they have to go on that boat, and time just keeps looping over and over again, and things get progressively worse and more effed up as it goes. What else? Time Crimes is a great Mexican horror / time travel movie.
Who'd have thought there were so many time travel horror movies? Oh, you know what? One, what's it called? The one that just came out. Happy Death Day.
Yeah, and Happy Death Day, whatever the sequel is.
Yeah, I didn't see the sequel. I thought actually the first one was pretty decent. I mean, it's a time loop. It's a time loop one. It's like the Groundhog Day thing. But I actually thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like Selena and I want to check it out when we can. Like maybe we'll do it over Halloween.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely not super scientific or all that, and it's definitely like slasher movie-ish. But it's actually I thought that one was pretty decent. And the second one, from what I understand, they explain what happened and why she keeps going back in time.
Sure.
But yeah, there was some government experiment or whatever.
Did you see Predestination?
Was that the one with what's her name? Or am I thinking Precognition?
It's with Ethan Hawke.
No, I did not.
Okay, that one.
It sounds
That
familiar.
one's really interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting. There's like I literally can't even like refer what it's kind of like without like spoiling the whole hook of the movie. But basically, it's about like a time travel agency in the future that like sets anomalies right in the past, and this agent who's retiring is training his replacement, and he's also trying to catch this serial bomber that somehow eludes him all throughout history.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it gets really weird and really high concept, and there's some stuff in there that for some people is like a bridge too far, but like I dug it the whole way through. I thought it was neat.
There's one. It was from the '80s. Time Rider. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember Time Rider.
That one had the biggest flaw. Well, I don't know if it was the biggest flaw, but there was one glaring flaw that I was like, "What?" I mean, even as a kid, when the movie ended, it's one of those things where it turns out he's his own grandfather or great grandfather, or whatever. And then on top of that, there's another thing that's exactly the same kind of paradox. He's got this locket that's been passed down to his family from his grandmother or great grandmother, whoever she is. And at the end of the movie, as he's going back in time, his great grandmother steals that locket from him. She pulls it off of his neck to remember him by. Well, I got to thinking, I'm like, at no point was that locket ever manufactured.
Right.
Because I mean, she steals it from him, and he gives it, and he has it and brings it back. So there's no point where in that whole history of that item where it is made.
Sure. That's interesting. Man, I should go back and watch that. Like I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah, I think last time I saw it was on VHS when it was in the video stores when I was a kid.
So I know this kind of is disqualified because it's not a movie, but currently my favorite time travel story was the 12 Monkeys series that Sci-Fi did a few years ago.
Yeah, I saw the first, I think, season of that,
Mm-hmm.
and I really liked that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, like it's so okay, like I'm a fan of Lost, but I understand people who hate that show. And I understand that like a lot of the complaints focus on, oh, they just kind of made it up as they go.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me so much because it's like, well, kind of sort of all stories are made up as you go. Like the idea that because it wasn't planned from the very start before they even started shooting, that means the story that they told is somehow disqualified. I don't get that 100%.
It felt like it was made up from episode to episode, though. It's one thing to like, well, we don't know where the next season is going. But it's another thing to me, and I actually liked the first season, but then at the end I was like, they answered no questions. They just kept making more questions. But the idea to me was, I think, and I don't think I didn't feel like this, but I think some people did, was that it seemed like it was like that from episode to episode, they had no idea what was going on.
Sure. Well, anyway, my point with that is, whereas like that is kind of like a common complaint with Lost, with 12 Monkeys, it's the exact opposite. Like I've read a lot of interviews with that creator, and having stuck with the show from start to finish through all 4 seasons, like there's stuff in the pilot episode that gets paid off in the very last episode. And like I remember the second to last episode, right before it aired on Twitter, the showrunner was like, before anyone asks, the answer is from the and I watched it and plays it out, and you're like, oh, you bastard. Like that's so great.
Yeah, I don't think I saw.
Yeah, so like anyone listening.
We lost him.
We lose you?
Anyone listening? Are you there?
Yep, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Cool.
Uh-oh. My mic. Can you hear me?
Cool. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. No, go ahead.
All right, cool. Anyone listening who like has the means to check out the 12 Monkeys show, like you should definitely do so.
Yeah, I saw the first season. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Did you ever see? A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was pretty cool. Was the Butterfly Effect?
Yeah, conceptually I dug it. It was neat to see someone bring that theory all the way to a film level. And yeah, like I just took it as like one of those movies of the time of like it's this like schlocky pseudo teen 20 something kind of sort of thriller films. I dug it.
Yeah, that was. If you haven't seen that one, we still got El Gargoyle in the audience, I think. Yeah, that one actually I thought was pretty good. They did it, and like there's no machines, there's no kind of. It was just he could make himself go back in time, which I thought was cool. Another one was the different theories of time travel is what you gotta. To me, you have to keep consistent. Either you're making multiple timelines or you are erasing the timeline and making a single timeline and erasing it every time.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you can go either way. And some of them, I think Back to the Future kind of mixes it a little bit. They mix that up a little bit. And I'm not sure. Like, I think, like, I don't know if they erase, like, the Biff is in charge timeline. I don't know if that got erased. And that's where, because to my thinking, everything since time travel started, well, actually, no, because they went back further. But all the first time travel started in 1955 when they first started, when they first went back, because that would have been the first trip. But then later on, they went back to 1885. So,
yeah, my thinking is that they're literally overwriting the timeline instead of branching, because then you get into territory of like the dark future where Biff is rich. If Biff has that level of financial access and he can pretty much do whatever he wants, my brain goes to, if he knows time travel exists, he can figure out a way to recreate it, even though the DeLorean and Doc and Marty are gone. And then you have him essentially chasing them through time.
Yeah, I guess yeah, maybe.
So if that's the case, I just take it like, no, like once they fix whatever's gone wrong, like that whole branch is just erased.
Yeah, it gets changed, and that's, I don't know. But all right, now if that's true, then because this is where they kind of mix that up, is the picture starts disappearing. So that's your okay. It's erasing the timeline,
right?
And then he starts disappearing,
right?
And then bam, everything's fixed. But why doesn't his memory change?
Yeah, that's true.
His memory, if everything is erased and all that stuff is erased, his memory should change in his head. And that was one of the things, actually, one of the points of that was, oh, Edwin, Ace, how's it going, man? That was one of the things about Butterfly Effect I really liked. Whenever he changed something, his brain would change. He'd get like a bloody nose and wicked headaches, and it actually physically changed his brain.
Right.
And that's actually one of the little points I liked about that, is because they put that in there. Now he's got the multiple memories because he remembered it both ways.
Man, I don't know. Like, I get some people don't dig time travel as a genre, but I love it. Like, I love all this nonsense.
Yeah, well, I like it because it's fun. It's fun to like argue points about, because basically it's like, yeah, well, why didn't this happen? Why didn't that happen? And that's, well, if that changed. I always wanted to write a story where a guy dies, and just before he dies, like he wishes he could do it all over again. And he goes back and he he goes back to, he wakes up as maybe a baby, but he's fully conscious, like he's a 50-year-old guy, and suddenly he's trapped in the body of a baby of himself back when, so he could do it all over again. And it was all, and the whole thing was like God or whoever was just like, well, that's what you wanted, this is what you're gonna get. And now he has to, and then he's like, okay, once he, for the first 10 years or whatever, he's got to, learn to, to do child stuff. And then he got to be like, all right, does he tell his parents? Does he tell anybody? Because now he kind of knows the future.
Right.
And so, is he going to change? And he was like, oh, and, I got to think, I'm like, all right, well, now he can say, okay, well, now I know I can make a bunch of money and I can live, the rich life and all this other stuff. And then he'll get to thinking, he's like, well, wait a minute. I married so-and-so and I really loved her and I had kids and now those kids aren't going to exist. So he starts going down like one path and then he realizes that all that stuff isn't going to happen. He reaches a certain point. So then he has to try to turn back and not so much go back in time, but try to go back to making everything as close to what it was before. And I thought that's kind of a cool concept.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, like I have like a time travel story or two like in my head, but they're kind of back burner right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into discussions of like, do you think time travel could really happen? Like I lean towards there's no way, because I think the second we did it, we would kind of just break the universe. Because like I'm anal retentive to the point of like you can't. If you could time travel, you literally couldn't take a single step without messing something up.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you just like they do the thing all the time, like in like smaller stuff, like what was it? The DC show Legends.
Yeah.
Like they'll do stuff where like they'll punch somebody or they'll bump into somebody and like knock their books on the ground or whatever, and it's like my brain goes to this place of like, but you just messed up that person's entire life. Because even just bumping into them, the time that it takes them to like pick up the books, like maybe in that time they would have almost gotten hit by a car, but now they do get hit by the car,
Yeah. Or they were supposed to get hit by the car and now they didn't.
Right. So like you couldn't do anything. Like you couldn't touch anything, you couldn't interact with anyone, and we would just kill ourselves. So I don't think it's possible.
My theory is if time travel, I don't believe that time travel exists, but if it did, it would work in one of two ways. Either, since it exists, the whole universe would be set up for it being in existence. So either you would go back in time and you would be like a ghost. You'd be non-corporeal. You couldn't actually affect anything. You would essentially be an observer. And the other theory is you would go back in time and you were supposed to be there anyway, because that's the way the universe works. So
Sure.
whatever you did was supposed to happen the first time. So as much as you tried to screw anything up, you would realize, oh man, that happened. I remember, that was supposed to be that way. They did that in Red versus Blue. He does a thing where he goes back to the first episode or the first season of Red versus Blue, and he starts running around thinking like, okay, I'm going to fix all these things. But every time he tried to fix something, it always caused whatever crazy accident that was supposed to happen originally.
Right. Yeah, like later on in Lost, they start using that logic. Like the line that I always use is whatever they say, like whatever happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that notion of like, sure, fictionally speaking, time travel is possible, but whatever happened in the past is what happened, no matter what you do or no matter how you think you're going to interact with the timeline.
It it basically blows all the wind out of your sails. It deflates your balloon because you think you kind of in your head think, oh, I have all this power, I can make all these changes, and then it just like subverts you at every point.
Right, and that was kind of that was the hook of Triangle, the horror on a boat movie I was talking about. Like, it's the thing of like the characters slowly figure out that they're in a time loop, and they're like, okay, well, let's do this instead, and like they are the instruments of their own destruction every step of the way.
So no matter how they try to change it, they still end up getting killed.
Yeah, and then there's a real nasty, shocking moment towards the end where like the main character realizes the price of what it is that she's been trying to do the whole time.
There was another
Hey,
one. There was another one I went to the theater for last year, the year before, and it was about these kids, and this one kid's dad invented time travel and then like disappeared, and he figured it out. He found all his plans, and they went back in time and they started doing. They went to like a concert. What they did was they'd buy used like tickets and used backstage passes that people would sell on eBay, and then they would go back in time to the concert with the backstage passes, and that's what they spent. And they got like they got the winning lottery ticket, and like they couldn't figure out how to cash it in because none of them were old enough. They had to get someone else to do it, I think, and that was a really neat one. That was a pretty. I can't remember what that one was called though.
Yeah, that sounds interesting, and that's actually one of my theories about time travel. Like, my thing is, if time travel exists, all people who time travel do is go to concerts and major historical moments.
Yeah.
Like you imagine like CBGB in the late 70s, like you just imagine half the room being full of time travelers there to see the Ramones, stuff like that.
That would be. There was one, and it wasn't a time travel movie. It was called The Man from Earth. Did you ever see that one?
No.
It wasn't really time travel, but it had to do. The guy basically had been alive for thousands of years, and the only reason I'm thinking of it is because you said they were in a room full of time travelers. There's one scene. The whole movie is him talking about his life from thousands of years ago, and up to this point. And he talks about meeting another guy just like him. There's no explanation as to why he is the way he is. He just kind of explains, yeah, I've been alive all this time. And then he talks about he says there was one guy he met, and they got to talking and kind of I guess they kind of talked around the fact that they were, and they sort of recognized it in each other. And then, like he said, 200 years later, he was in a different place and he saw the same guy. And that was actually a really good one. But again, that one wasn't time travel. But I like the idea that time travelers would like get together. Yeah. Nice. Edwin says time travel doesn't exist. Immortals, on the other hand.
There you go.
And that was pretty much what happened. And I remember and the whole thing was they were just asking him all these questions. He got like these friends together because what he was planning on doing was starting a new life because he'd been around for too long where he was at. So you have to move along or people start getting suspicious.
Right.
And he got them all together and he was just kind of telling them what was going on, who he was and all this other stuff. And everybody was asking him all these questions and I cannot remember where I was going with that thought.
Well, I mean, along that line of thinking, that's the thing that always fascinates me about like stories about immortals. Like where my brain goes to is like, what is the point where you kind of have to torch your entire life and start over?
Yeah. Oh, I know. They asked one of the questions like he was talking to. They were asking him was because he had been alive for so long. He had like tons of different careers. And so they asked him, like, do you remember all that? Because I think he was like a literature professor or something. And he's like, oh yeah, I was a scientist here, and I did this over there and this here. And they were like, do you remember all that stuff? He's like, no, once you get into a new career, you don't remember all that. You don't keep that all in your memory.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with powers, where like Walker was an immortal, but he was so old that at a certain point he just starts forgetting chunks of his life.
Yeah. So that was a good one. That was The Man from Earth. And I think
Nice.
that came out. That came out in the 80s.
Huh.
That was another one. Let's see. What's another really? What I liked about Bill and Ted, the clever thing they did was hiding stuff everywhere.
Right. The whole thing of like, hey, remember to do this.
Yeah. And although the one that got me, I was like, all right, yeah, that's too much. Was the drop the garbage can on the guy's head? I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, how do you set that up? There's no way to set that up.
Ted, remember a garbage can.
Yeah, a garbage can just falls from the sky or falls from the roof.
I have no idea what that third movie is going to be, but I can't wait.
Yeah, that one's gonna be good. That's well, I don't know if it's gonna be good. I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
That one, I'm really looking forward to that one. Let's see what. Yeah, Bill and Ted's. I think I remember going to see that in the theaters when it came out,
Mhm.
and I remember going with a friend of mine saying that that was freaking awesome.
Right. And what's so, like tying this back to Endgame, what's interesting to me is like, they reference Terminator in that movie, and I like Terminator 1 and 2 a lot, and I can't that's one of those franchises where it's like, guys, it's just like you can't do anything past those two movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 was awful, 4 was awful, 5 was awful. Like I saw the potential in 4, which was Salvation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I saw the potential in that, but I don't know. Like it's this thing of like the way Cameron crafted those two stories, it leaves no wiggle room for a sequel unless you just intentionally start omitting stuff.
yeah. Well, like supposedly this new one that's coming out is going to ignore all the other sequels after 2.
Right.
And it's basically going to pick up more or less where 2 left off, or a few years later, or whatever.
Right. They're pulling Halloween.
Yeah, and maybe they should. I think that's what they were thinking about doing if they release any more Alien movies.
Right. Yeah. Because what's his name? Blomkamp was supposed to do that one with old Ripley.
Yeah. They were going to completely ignore. I think it was everything after 2.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Like I creatively, I get the want to do that, but I think there's something more impressive. It's kind of like writing comics.
Mm-hmm.
There's something more impressive about being able to take all of that stuff, even the stuff that doesn't make sense or you don't like,
Yeah.
and figuring out a way to make it work and figuring out something cool about it.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to go like, oh hey, like that entire 20-year stretch where like there were all these Halloween movies, just pretend they didn't happen. Like that's easy.
Yeah. Then you don't have to solve anything.
Right.
All
But
right.
I don't know, that's just me.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting on to an hour here. It's getting late, and the wife is asleep. Let's go one more time over the Gods Fear Me. And let's see. Androids and aliens battle across the wastelands of Earth for the fate of all mankind. 32 pages. Let's see. We're at 50. Let's see if you did any better. All right. 1924, 56 backers.
Mm-hmm.
You're at 32% of your goal. 21 days left. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, all that art's cool. It doesn't let me play these videos. I don't have the bandwidth or something.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, the art's really cool. What's the artist again? What's her name?
Kristen Rossi.
Kristen Rossi did Trespasser, which right now, if Alterna in there, in case you missed it, is doing Trespasser right now.
Yeah.
So you can get a sample of what she's got or what Kristen's got going on. Let's see some of the stuff. That's the thing that ripped off her arm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and there's some more stuff there.
Yeah, that's the Puppet King. He's one of the main antagonists of the whole book.
All right, now is this kind of is it loosely Lovecraft or?
Yeah, that's the Madness Engine. He's kind of our stand-in for Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like what I've been saying is like I have like a huge love and respect for Lovecraft and his whole mythology that he built up. But A, there are smarter people out there who can do it better than me.
Mm-hmm.
And B, one of the main hooks with the Gods Fear Me is if every Lovecraft story basically ends with the protagonist losing their minds, you know, like if we take humanity out of the equation and replace it with androids, well, androids have synthetic brains and wouldn't necessarily be affected by the elder gods.
Yeah.
So then it becomes, okay, what can these things actually do besides cause madness?
All right, so that's pretty. Yeah, I'm a big Lovecraft fan, but I think, and I don't know, I like a lot of the Lovecraft. You know, when people use it, but it seems like it's overused too.
Yeah, it's
direct when they directly use it.
yeah, like I know Jay Ashiro always goes on about how, like, especially in Hollywood, like whenever anyone starts talking about Lovecraft, like they don't actually know anything about Lovecraft. They're just talking about tentacles.
Yeah. Oh, Michael Beacon's here. Hey, you know what? You're a little bit late, Mike. I think we're gonna shut down here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, but still, hey, Michael.
Yeah. So it looks really good. The book's looking good. It's doing well. I know there aren't that many people here, but if you're watching this later on, check out The Gods Fear Me, book 1. How many books are you thinking about carrying this?
We're hoping to do 3 in total. So at some point in the near future, like maybe 3 years from now, we can put together a 96-page trade.
Cool. All right, so we'll be on the lookout for that. Thank you for stopping by. Everybody, don't forget to check out The Gods Fear Me. Don't forget to check out Oddity. We got a new. Watch this a little bit later. I also put out something on Twitter. We did a little thing for this weekend for the figurines, so check it out. And it's only going to be for this weekend. After this weekend, the figurines go away by themselves, and the only way to get one is to get the all-in tier. All right. So thanks, Mike, for stopping by. And it's always good having you. And good luck on your book, and we'll definitely bring you back. And everybody else, thanks for stopping by, and y'all have a good night.
All right. Later.
Later.